Hello, Geneva, and welcome to Officially Speaking. I'm your host, Kevin Starr. Each month, we sit down with one of our local elected officials or appointed board members to get the latest with your city government. Today, we're joined by International Cultural Exchange Committee's Cynthia Albright. Cynthia, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Kevin. A pleasure to be here with you.
Well, let's get the show started. For those not familiar with the committee, can you give us a little bit of background about what your mission is and what you guys do?
Absolutely. Our mission is to foster international cultural exchange. About 10 years ago, Geneva, through a series of lucky chances, was put in touch with a town outside of Paris, Croissy-sur-Seine. And since then, we have established a really good cultural relationship with the town, and we have fostered international relationships by sending delegations to Croissy and here, as well as various projects that we have entertained on both sides.
And how did that relationship start, so many years ago?
Actually, it started when someone who had been born in Geneva and had been traveling in France and discovered a small town outside of Paris. They had been seeking a cultural partner outside, or in the US rather, hoping that they might find a partner that would be near a place where Impressionist paintings are in museums. Well, voila. Here is Geneva, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, and the Art Institute with its Impressionist collection. Geneva is about 40 miles outside of Chicago. Croissy is about 20 miles out of Paris. The two towns enjoy pretty much the same demographics. Croissy is a little bit smaller than Geneva, but it too really began to spread and grow when the railroad came to Croissy in the 1860s. You see the parallel here with Geneva. It was a farming community prior to that, and long in the past. I mentioned the Impressionists, and because of the railroad, they would go out on that first railroad line west of Paris, and they would paint in various locales along the river. So that's something that Croissy enjoys as part of their history, the Impressionists there.
So you referenced the delegation visits. Can you tell us a little bit about what those visits have entailed in the previous years?
Yes. So over these years, each time the visit has been groups of 6, 10, sometimes even 18 people who travel to each other's respective town. We stay in host homes. We visit various museums, cultural centers. We get to know the people and the city government, and they've done the same when they have come here.
And what are, outside of the delegation visits, what are some of the other events that ICEC has participated in?
Well, in conjunction with some of the delegate visits, we've actually done some really neat things. Once they brought a jazz group, excellent jazz, Dixieland and big band sound. So, we had a performance at the Geneva High School with the jazz band students, a concert given there free for the community. We've had 2 artist exchanges, both here and abroad, and more recently a photo exhibit where we invited people from the Geneva area to submit photos of Geneva. Some of them were professional, some amateurs with a good camera or a smartphone who submitted photos. Those photos were then printed and sent to Croissy for an exhibit and then brought back here to Geneva. So this is, some of the exchange that we do. And in addition to that, we have also had some children activities here. A few years ago, we, through an after-school program, taught young Park, I think it was through the Park District, about Impressionism, and then the children here painted their impression of our river. It's called Tale of Two Rivers, appropriately. And then those works were sent over to Croissy to be on exhibit there, and then back here as well.
Are there any other upcoming events that you might want to share with our audience?
Absolutely. In a few weeks, we are launching a program that we think will be very successful. We will have a culinary art project for students at Williamsburg School. It's going to be offered as an after-school activity. So the art project will be Impressionism, where the children will learn a bit about the Impressionistic style and then learn to, or given the opportunity, rather, to do some watercolor. And then the group will also see a crepe making demonstration and get to enjoy some of that French delicacy called crepe and fill them and have a good time. So a little bit of a way of getting cultural exchange and the idea of the concept that other people do things differently, live differently than we do, to 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders at Williamsburg School.
Now, I know there's a lot of great programs and initiatives that are done by the ICEC. Most of those do cost money. So how does the ICEC go about fundraising to kind of further its mission?
Well, thank you. First of all, the City of Geneva is generous in providing us some seed money each year for our budget. But when we do have a special project, then we usually seek out some fundraising donations. We'll be having a delegation, we hope, to come this September. We've extended an invitation, in which case we will need some monies for our projects, and we will be hosting a fundraiser and hope to have success. It's a great time for people to learn not just what we do, but also an opportunity for them to learn how they can volunteer to host or to drive or to offer a lunch or just accompany the people from Colossi who will come here.
And for those that want to learn more information about the ICEC, where can they find that?
Well, they can go to our website, which is icecgeneva.org. That will go to our start page, which is actually on the city website then. And from there, there'll be links to photos, and they can register for our newsletter. We've just embellished our newsletter now. We're hoping quarterly with an article which will compare either a holiday event or some historical event here in Geneva with that in Colossi, to give people on both sides a bit of insight as to the other city.
That is all the time we have for Officially Speaking. I'd like to thank Cynthia Albright for her time and insight into the ICEC.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here with you and to let people in Geneva know more about this wonderful committee and the work we do.
We'd also like to thank you for watching. We'll be tuning in next month to get the official word from your local government.